we see it in this world, as we see it, as we see it right now, as we see it.
Good evening, good evening. How you doing, brother Jamal?
Hey man, what's going on, McKinney? I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Today's segment on As We See It is gonna be consider the source. And just to give you
Mm.
a brief history, man, I've been knowing Jamal for a very, very long time. He's a very
Ooh.
smart, very
Yes.
articulate brother. Just to give you a small introduction to who he is, would you like to say something on your own behalf, Jamal?
Oh wow, man. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like 44 years old, man. I have had a pretty good amount of experience with life. Like I say, from like I say, college graduate, man. Just done a lot of stuff, man. So been an educator. So definitely
Okay.
spent a lot of time working around kids and even adults, of course. Working with the kids. Of course, you're working with the parents and things of that nature. So
Exactly.
been married over 20 some odd years, 21 years now. So
Wow.
yeah, man. Yeah, definitely got some
Congratulations
experience,
on
man.
that. So
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
just to kind of dive in a little bit, we're looking at considering the source, and when I say consider the source is I'm kind of want to delve into um, what shapes us, what makes us who we are. Going from childhood on up. Um, could you expound on that a little bit?
Well, I think for me, man, I mean, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest, man, I believe that a lot of what we tend to do, man, in life, man, is pretty much determined. I'm not gonna say it's fully determined, but a lot of what the path that we start out on probably is gonna be shaped within those first 5 to 10 years of
Okay,
living.
right.
Um, our parents, I mean, whether we want to admit it or not, a lot of times our first teachers. Well, I mean, we,
Wow.
we, we talk about we talk about what's going on in schools and all this kind of stuff, but
Right.
um, it's pretty much what you're told, what you're kind of inundated with on a daily basis. Some of
Right.
it's spoken, some of it's not spoken, some of it is
Okay.
experienced.
I see.
And so based on what it is that you have been around, based on what it is that you have seen and have pretty much and taken on and taken in,
Right.
that's going to shape a lot of your early decisions and the way that you begin to move. Now, of course, other
Okay.
stuff can help affect that, but a lot of what you start off with is based on what you see early on
I
and what you've
agree,
been
Jay.
told and what's been put into you from the very beginning.
You're right. You're so right, man. When I remember going to school, man, and as a young man being in the home, and I came out of a small place, small city, Albany, Georgia, and
Hmm.
I started my life off in Holly Home Project. So um,
Gotcha.
that the things that I saw growing up, it shaped a lot of who I was, and
Hmm.
who I am today. And some of the stuff I had to shed, over time. But uh, basically, I was a young kid. You know, I was growing up. For one, I was born with a disability, so that kind of
Okay.
made me be a little bit more impressionable. If that makes sense.
Hmm. I
So,
get it.
with
Yeah.
that being said, man, I did everything that I thought I could to fit in. So,
Hmm.
and in that, when I was coming up, you know, being the example of being a man that I saw was, being cool, having a lot of women, and then also,
Hmm.
going to prison. A lot of jokers that I grew up around don't consider you a full man unless you don't been to prison. You see? So
Right.
a lot of that shapes who we are. And I knew that I had the capacity to become anything that I wanted to
Hmm.
be, but I was overwhelmed by my environment, by what I saw. As a kid, you know, I'm most kids. Well, kids mainly move by impulse. You see what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying? They move
absolutely,
by impulse. So
absolutely.
so mainly, the adult, the mind doesn't really become an adult. I don't think by data wise until you're around 25. You know, so
Hmm.
with that being said, man, I saw a lot of pimps in my neighborhood. I saw drug dealing, and I went to school. You know, when you're leaving school, I'm seeing all the dope boys coming through. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey,
They riding
what
big.
I
Yeah,
saw, what
exactly.
you see is what you do.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
I didn't have doctors and lawyers and stuff like that around me when I grew up. So that made a big difference in you know that who I was at that time, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Absolutely, man. And it's so funny that we talk, and that's why I've always like loved our relationship because it's crazy because like I can almost say I was almost a polar opposite to that. You know what I'm saying? To everything that you just said, I was almost like a
Right.
polar opposite because, like, I grew up, started out in a two parent home. My mother and father did eventually divorce, but started out in a
Okay.
2 parent home. We were considered probably, I'm assuming, middle to probably possibly upper middle class, maybe whatever.
Right.
Man. Pretty decent neighborhood. It wasn't in the project area,
Right.
so everybody around me was, pretty much, kind of talking to me about next steps in life, what you're gonna do later on, or that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
I was always kind of getting those conversations early about going to school, like if I'm in elementary school, what's gonna happen when you get to high school, and
Okay.
then what's gonna happen when you go to college. So, I
Right.
know I had those kind of things coming at me. So
Okay.
it's completely different, man. So like
Okay.
I didn't even think it was an option for me to go to college. I almost felt like it was almost an expectation. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So it's like because and that again that just kind of came from the environment that I was in.
Well,
So it's like it's just almost polar opposites.
I personally didn't see when you talk about college, I didn't see nobody around me that was,
Right,
going to college.
right,
Now
right.
college then was going to jail when I grew up. Yeah, because see, a lot of
That
the
was your post
knowledge,
secondary.
yeah, because a lot of the knowledge that we were getting came from, to be honest, a lot of stuff came from, you know, jail, or a lot of jokers got a lot of knowledge from prison, because you
Prison,
got a
right?
lot of people that had been in prison so long, and lots of times a person that's coming up in my type in the community that I was raised in, they wouldn't listen to nobody unless they had
Mhm.
somebody that they could relate to.
Absolutely,
You see what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Right.
Hmm.
So, I know this, considering the source, man, you know, uh, it really has a lot to a bearing on, who we are, and then, I advise, a lot of my brothers and sisters out there, start looking back and considering the source
Hmm.
of where you came from, and that give you a hard look at who you are, you know, and
Right.
then that gives you an
Hmm.
idea of why you make the decisions that you make,
Decision that you make.
why
Right.
you make the comments that you make, why you
Hmm.
think the way you think, and then okay, if I'm a dude growing up outside of mainstream society, so when
Hmm.
I start going into mainstream society, you know, I'm feeling like an outcast because I don't
Outcast.
understand. I
Hmm.
don't understand the language. You
Right.
know, I don't understand
Right.
that way of thinking because my way of
Exactly.
thinking has been from a street perspective. You know,
Hmm.
and then so that made me, to be honest, very judgmental of them, and then also that
Okay.
kind of made them a little bit judgmental of me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But there was a
Right.
disconnect there. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I had to
Right.
kind of groove my way into that. And I just thank God for, what mainstream society is always there, to what I mean is that I think it's easier for a brother that come from the street to enter into mainstream society than it is from a person from mainstream society to enter into the street.
I think I can agree with that.
Right, right. Right. So, just thinking about that, man, and knowing
Hmm.
that, how I grew up, and I kind of had a double thing going on. Like I said, when I was born, I was disabled, when I was
Hmm.
born, and then, dealing with being a black male, you know, and not understanding a lot, not having the resources at my hand available to me, so I had to kind of navigate through a lot of stuff just to get to the
Right.
point where I am today. And I don't think a lot of people really understand that. You know what I mean?
I get it, man. I completely understand what you're talking about on that one.
Right. So, and
Hmm.
then on the other side, what the source of where you come from, what are some of the pros and cons that you think that you've gotten from, growing up the way you grew up?
I mean, well, definitely, I think I think from a pro standpoint, I think for me, possibly, I think I was kind of given a sense of direction. I guess I can say,
Okay.
um, like kind of pointing me in a direction of what people may have thought would have been a successful path to take
Okay.
in life, and some ways to try to navigate and some ways to move.
Right.
But I think from a con standpoint, and I think that's something I never really thought about. I thought a whole lot about. But one thing I probably can say is that it did. I could say that could possibly be um, limiting your view or limiting your scope of things outside of that,
Right.
outside of what you've been pointed toward. Because
That's what's up.
now you can almost close yourself off from other experiences or other ways of possibly doing something, or because you've been told so long, this is what I need you to be looking at. I want you to be looking at who are doing this and doing that, and
Right.
because now you're so focused on that, now you kind of develop this tunnel vision, and now you don't really, you don't see anything outside of that sometimes.
Right.
And so it keeps you it puts you in a place in a frame of mind where you now can't embrace or be open to learn new information.
Okay. Well, another question, because I find it interesting that us as men, we kind of open, and as far as dealing with the things that where we came from, some of the things that we saw that was wrong, and some things that we saw that was right and whatnot. But there's not a woman. We don't have a woman on the platform, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna walk lightly with this. I'm just wondering. It been my experience in life
Okay.
that it seems that quite a few women have a hard time talking about why they why they respond the way they respond. It's like they have a hard time with dealing with the source. And I'm just kind of wondering where the disconnect is from men to women as far as like being open and honest, and just kind of dealing
Mhm.
with things that where we come from. Have you in your lifetime, have you seen some of this, or have the same views on any of this at all?
Yeah, man, I can definitely say I've seen it. I think one of the biggest issues I think that comes from a lot of this is that, um, especially when it comes to us dealing with one another, man. I think that
Right.
sometimes we're not. I don't think for whatever reason, I don't know why all that is, but I think for some reason we don't want to confront some of the things that we're being told that sometimes necessarily don't agree with what we learned early on.
Right.
Um, because oftentimes, if you think about it, men and women, we process and we think about things completely different almost.
I get it.
You can show us the same picture, and
Right.
you ask a guy, you ask a woman, we more than likely probably gonna give you two completely different takes on it. And
Exactly.
and, and that's just kind of how we wire, and
Right.
the way we think about stuff.
Okay.
And see, sometimes when we challenge each other, we oftentimes tend to dismiss
Right.
versus being open to hearing what the other person is saying, and taking the information for what it is, and then trying to
Okay.
use it to see if there's any validity to it. And I
Right.
think sometimes we miss that because we don't want to say that what mama may have taught me or what daddy may have taught me may not have been the best thing.
Right. Well, I think.
And sometimes
Go
we
ahead.
reject it because it's not comfortable. I just thought we just reject what we're not comfortable with.
I think you dead on the money. Um, me, I grew up without a father, and I
Hmm.
think that's statistically they're saying that 70% of black families are growing up in a single parent home, in which
Right.
majority is probably going to be a mother.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
and then so from the male side, growing up in a home with just a mother, you're only gonna get one side of a perspective of life,
Hmm.
and that's the female side.
Hmm.
But the
Hmm.
female is gonna get the whole perspective from the female side, and then not get a perspective from the male side. So,
Correct.
uh, is it kind of? I think it's kind of safe to say that we look at it like that. We may be dealing with uh, 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 a culture of one-sided people. Not a
Hmm.
whole culture, but a
Right.
large amount statistically. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm. I agree.
What do
I
you
agree,
think about
man.
that, bro?
I definitely agree, man. And just in my background, like I kind of alluded to earlier, I've been in education, man, and it's I will say it this way: it was refreshing to always kind of see some of those two-parent households where the mother
Okay,
or and the father may have shown up at a PTA or that type of thing. But
okay,
the vast majority of the students that I encountered, just like what you just said, majority of it was moms. You know what I'm saying? It was
wow,
mothers,
wow,
and boys and girls, whatnot. You know what I mean? So like, well,
okay,
their children, and
okay,
so and I hate to say it this way, but I'm just being honest. There was a lot of stuff that I could definitely tell that some of the parents were saying and doing that led to some of the children's, you know, inability to kind of, adapt to what was taking place in school.
right.
I think that's a nice way to say that.
It
And
is.
I say that and I say it that way because as some educators, I'm gonna kind of tell them some of my educators a little bit because a lot of time when the parents will leave the room, some of the educators say I see why the child does the stuff that they do
Well, and I
because
get it.
because now I see the parents, so now I understand the child that much better, and so
Well, like I,
now
like I,
I'm not even upset with the child now because I see why the child is doing what they doing because this is what they got. This is what the parent is saying to them.
well,
This is what the parent is doing.
I grew up in the project, so
Right.
you know, I probably ain't gonna be as nice as you were about that. I saw a lot of single parent, and I saw some great mothers. I did, but I saw a lot of mothers that were just cutting the food, and their children was cutting the food, a direct reflection of what they were seeing. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I saw
Absolutely.
that. So, for by me growing up in the projects, you can't come to me with that story about, oh, my child. No, 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 no. I know what goes on. I've seen it. Yeah, I know what going.
Yeah.
I know it's a bunch of bull skating and stuff going on. I know this.
Hmm.
So you cannot tell. You can't run that rigmarole by me
Right.
because kids are directly affected emotionally,
Hmm.
psychologically by what they see
See.
and also
Absolutely.
what they hear. They
Hmm.
are. I was.
But
I
but
was.
but but can I say this, McKinney?
Right.
I'm almost more willing to incline to say that it's more about what they see because I think it's obvious that we can say that. 'Cause think about the old adage that we used to hear when we were coming up.
Okay.
Don't do what do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
I mean, I've heard parents say that to kids.
Right.
And I think I said it before, but you hear what I'm telling you. Do what I said. But it didn't. It almost didn't matter what was said. What was
Wow.
most important was what that child saw,
Wow.
and
Okay.
because that's what they saw,
Okay.
that's how I tend to pattern. Think about it. Think about you as a parent.
Okay.
I guarantee a lot of stuff that you do as a parent is based on what happened with you.
It is. It
Not
is.
all of it, probably not 100% of it,
A
but
great deal of it.
the vast majority of what you do as a parent is
Right.
coming from what you saw coming up. That was your model.
Right. Now,
So
okay,
when you see that your model, that's what you take after.
let me give you the flip side of that.
Okay.
A lot of what I saw deterred me from being that way also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I know
Because,
exactly where you're going.
I mean just what my mama she was a great mama.
Hmm.
And she did everything she could do because it was seven of us. And it was just her by herself.
She
She
did an
did
awesome
every
job, damn, I'm telling
Yeah, she
you.
did
Hmm.
everything she could do. So me as a father, I'm exemplifying to my kids, the love that my mom put on me, and I'm doing the
Hmm.
opposite of what my daddy did.
Right.
If that
Absolutely.
makes sense.
Oh, it make all the sense in the world. And
Right,
listen, my mom and dad were they were together, and then they divorced. I was probably like nine, maybe 8, 9 years old,
right.
still relatively young.
Okay,
And so of course, there was some changes, some transition I had to deal with all of that kind of stuff.
okay.
Of course, my father wanted me even moving out the state for a while.
Okay.
for some years. He wanted to go
Right.
like to the West Coast, so
Right.
we weren't in proximity to each other like that the same way.
Okay.
So, I mean, and then with all that being said, though, there comes a time that you have to be able to say, look, I want to be able to do for my child what necessarily may not have been done for me.
Exactly.
And so that sounds like what I hear you saying on the other flip side. Because there are
Exactly.
some things that you learned, that you saw, that you want to uphold and that you want to keep going.
Right.
Some stuff you saw, I want to make sure that never happens.
Hey, there you
Right.
go. Right.
And so that's kind of, I think, what happens with that too. That's the other dynamic that you have to be able to understand too. That on one
Right.
hand, I want to see certain stuff take off, but then there's some stuff, hey, I got to pump the brakes on that, and I got to make sure that stops.
Right.
That's gonna stop with me, you know.
There you go.
And then and I'm gonna make sure that my children don't have to endure that. You know,
Well,
they don't have to wonder, they don't have to question this, or they don't have to question that about me.
well, I mean, I'm not afraid to evolve. So what I'm
Good deal.
saying, I'm not afraid to evolve because I know my grandparents did one thing, my mother did a thing, and then here I am doing a thing, and then I'm preparing my son to do and my daughter to do a greater thing than that.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I'm keeping my line open, my lineage is open to evolution, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right, evolving into something that's greater, you know,
Hmm.
to the best of my ability. Because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be some things that my son gonna say, "Hey, I love about my daddy," and there gonna be some things that he gonna say that, "Hell, I would not, I don't like that about my daddy, and I'm not gonna do that what my daddy did or say that
Right.
what my daddy said," and I'm fine with that because I know I know that I've been my wife and I've been an equalizer to our children.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
A little yin, a little
Hmm.
yang, but
Exactly.
not too much of one and not too much of the other. You see what I'm saying?
But that's necessary.
Right.
And like you said, like and the point you made earlier, we have a lot of imbalance going on now, where a lot of this younger generation is kind of not, they're only receiving one side of things,
Right.
so to speak. So and that's shaping so much about how they approach and look at life and
Okay.
even relationships and everything for that matter.
Okay.
I say this all the time, and I don't want to I don't want to offend your viewing audience, but I'm gonna say this because this is something that I think always happens, and it may just be it is my personal opinion, but I just don't believe. I'm gonna say it this way. I've heard a lot of people say that I could be the mama and the father for a child. That's just completely false.
That's false.
Now, that may make you feel good to say.
Right.
You know, it may do something for you to say that. Your
Right.
child may agree with you saying that because that makes them
Right.
feel good because y'all have a the relationship with the other parent may not be so good, whether it's the mother or the father.
Right.
But I just I find it impossible for you as a mother to give that child what only the father or some other male can give it.
Okay.
The same way the same way I find it impossible for you as a man to give
Right.
what only that mom or some other woman can give.
Okay. Well,
It just doesn't happen.
let me ask you this, and I want you to answer this with at your discretion.
Sure.
What things you think that a mother cannot give her son?
She can't give him. She can give him maybe how a woman likes to be treated, quote unquote.
Right.
She can show him how she can show him what kind of things ladies like or whatever.
Right.
But as it relates to
Being a
as it
man.
relates to the structure and the discipline that often is provided,
Right.
through a man and what it takes for him to be able to walk and live this life as a man,
Right.
she can't give him that. She can't give him what she doesn't have.
No, I mean, for one, I can think of. I couldn't talk to my mama when I had my first wet drink.
She has no idea of what it is for you for that experience with you.
No.
She has no point of reference.
No.
No book is gonna give her that. No TV show. Nobody. No relationship or expert guru can tell her that.
Right.
That's only something that can come through experience.
There you go. So,
and she doesn't have that, so she can't give that.
I mean, in my mind, and I'm respectfully say this,
Hmm.
I feel, and the show is as we see it, so I'm just gonna say how I see it.
Gotcha.
The man should carry more weight in his house than his woman does.
I
I
think so.
I believe that.
Mhm.
I believe
I
that
think
because
so. Hmm.
right now, um, not to be disrespectful, but when
Hmm.
a woman uses the bathroom, she has to sit down.
Correct.
That is a posture of submission.
Submission. Hmm.
When a woman
Mm.
engages into a sexual contact with a man, she has to get it on her back.
Okay.
That is a position of submission.
Submission. Correct.
So I didn't design that. So don't be mad at me for saying it.
Right.
But you might be mad at me for acknowledging it. But
Yeah.
I didn't make it that way.
It is what it is. Right.
It is what it is. So you got natural things that God has set in place to show you that
Hmm.
there's points in your life, whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to be in positions of submission anyway.
Well, can I take that a step further? That
Please do.
analogy that you just
Please do.
let's look at our anatomy as humans.
Right.
What makes us male? What makes us female?
Right.
As men, we are givers of seed.
Right. Right.
As a woman, she is a receiver of that seed.
Right. Right.
How can you how can you receive unless you're submitted to be able to receive?
You can't. You can't.
It just doesn't work outside of
You
that.
can't. And then Jay, you know what the funny is, there's a lot of people out here that don't know that the male determines the sex of the child.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of my wheelhouses with science now. But
Right.
like yeah, that's on the male. The woman can only provide. We're gonna go scientific. We'll have a little class. The woman can only give an X chromosome.
That's it. We have X and Y.
The male has the ability to give the X or the Y.
Right.
If I give an X, then that means we have a young girl. If I
Right.
give a Y, now we have another little boy.
Right.
That's all on the male.
Right. Right. So just by nature being carriers of the seed
Absolutely.
should let you, that's the position that God has naturally given you on this planet.
Absolutely.
You're the carrier of the seed, the
Absolutely.
maker of the one that makes life.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, not to take away from what the woman does, carrying that child for
Oh, absolutely.
9 months. I can't take nothing.
Right.
I salute
Absolutely.
the woman for that.
Oh,
And then
sure.
going through all those pains and these labor pains,
Absolutely.
her,
Right.
her feet swelling, and there's a whole myriad of stuff that we don't understand.
Right.
You know, but I wouldn't meant to understand it because of it, I wasn't made like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I can sympathize with you on that. But
Mhm.
that nevertheless that doesn't negate the place naturally that we've been put in.
Right.
So, there is a place called out of place. So
It is.
it's a place called
It
out of
is.
place. So,
It is.
and I believe on the other side, from our, the other side that, being out of place is that when you try to usurp authority over a man, that ain't where I come from. That ain't how it is.
Right.
Right.
Right. I can agree with that. Right.
Right. And then the
Absolutely.
creator of the universe, God,
Mm-hmm.
the beginning is depicted as a male.
Male. Right.
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 He's depicted as a male. So, not taken away from the women, but there's some things that I think the modern day woman and some of the latter day women need to understand, as far as, when you're trying to hold down your relationship with your
Mhm.
man, your marriage or whatever it is, there's some things they really need to understand. I think it is going to start with them being open enough to listen to what that man is saying to them.
Oh man, not yeah, absolutely. And it's like you said, considering the source, and see, I think that's kind of where a lot of this starts from too. Like you said,
Right.
being open, because
Mhm.
oftentimes I think we're not open because of where we received information.
Wow.
Because sometimes if I receive this information from somebody who I love and who I consider a trusted source. Now, when you challenge that information, I just want to throw all that away because you're challenging what Mama said,
Wow.
or you're challenging what Grandmama said or Daddy
Right.
said or whoever.
Right.
Not even considering whether or not they could have told you something completely wrong,
Right.
or they could be or they could have given you something that was so flawed based
Right.
out of their own hurt or their own whatever,
There
and
you go.
they gave it to you. But
Right.
since they gave it to you, you just think we just supposed to hold on to it and operate it. And but my thing is, how is that working for you?
How is that working for you?
Because if it's
Right.
not working for you, then okay, that may mean you need to kind of go back and reevaluate some things and say, okay, maybe what I've been doing, maybe what I've been hearing, maybe what I've been acting on
Right.
has not worked, is not right.
There
And
you
maybe
go.
I need to go back and recheck this stuff so I can
Right.
get some results that I can live with.
Well, you know what, Jay, I get it because I noticed that, I got a lot of brothers, man, that they got, they have women and, and some of these, I've noticed some of these women seem like they're so angry at men. I can't understand
Yeah.
that for the life of me. And the most of the time, when they get angry is when they're being when something that they think is being challenged.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm here to offer you. I'm your man. Your mama and your daddy has taken you as far as they're gonna take you out because now
Absolutely.
I got you.
Absolutely.
So, with my daughter being married, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting her husband to take her to a step further than what I took her.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Not just marry her and think no. There's still some teaching that needs to go on after she leaves my house. So
Right.
when you ask a man to take his daughter in marriage, understanding that man is looking at you as being another leader for his daughter.
Mm.
You understand? To take her
I hear
further.
that. I hear
Right.
that. Yeah. I hear
Not
that.
just to marry her and think you just gonna be hell on wheels because you a man. No.
Right. Right.
And then at the same time, my daughter can't be, the older woman she needs to be. She can't accept some teaching. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
From
Yeah.
that
Right.
man,
That's right.
from that
That's
man's
right.
perspective. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Right. So
Because you shouldn't be with someone. You shouldn't be with someone that you don't feel like you can. If you don't feel like you can respect that person to learn from them or to receive from them, then why
Right.
be with them?
Why be with them? You're exactly right. It don't make sense.
Right.
It don't make
If I
sense.
can't, yeah, and I got married very young. I was like 23 years old.
Okay.
When I got married, and
Same with me.
honestly, that was a lot that I still needed to learn, to be
Right.
perfectly honest. But over time, like I
Right.
said, being able to learn and being able to realize some things about myself, and then I was able to kind of help bring some of that home,
Right.
and be able to kind of help, kind of shift some things even with with my wife. So
Right.
that was a big help, to us.
Right.
And she's admitted that hey, a lot of what you've helped grow me up in some
Right.
areas. You've helped grow me up and mature me on some stuff.
Right.
Because she'll be the first to tell you I'm very selfish about this. I was spoiled, riding this, that, and the third, and all this kind of stuff. And so like it took some of our experiences. It took some of the things that you said. It took some of the stuff that you did that I didn't necessarily like because you challenged me for me to grow up in some areas.
Exactly.
Exactly. And of course she challenged me as a married student, and it made me stand up to,
Right.
to be who I needed to be. So I mean, so it was definitely a two-way street. But like you said, I definitely agree with that. That as a father, because I'm a father of a daughter myself, just like you.
Right.
And so you definitely kind of helped put that in perspective for me with that comment that you made, that man who I hand my daughter to. I look for him to kind of take care of what I take care of what I presented to him for one,
Right.
and then I expect him to do more with that too. With her,
Exactly.
I
Right.
expect him to do more with her and to kind of give her even more that I can't give. So
Exactly.
yes,
Because I've taken her
I get that.
as far as she's allowed me to take it because now she's decided to cleave to a man
Absolutely,
and move
absolutely.
on. But she was young. She was 18 years old.
Mhm.
She
Right.
was 18, 19. She joined the military out of that. And she's young. She gets married, maybe 20 years
Mhm.
old. So her development is not done yet.
Right. Right.
You see, what she
Mm-hmm.
knows is what she sees in this house.
Mm-hmm.
You
Absolutely.
understand? What she knows and what
Absolutely.
she still don't know. But see, we have men have a an acquired sense of things after so long
Mm-hmm.
that
I
that
agree.
that male perspective kind of helps bring things full circle for her, and then that female perspective, it brings things in perspective for him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
those are the things. Those are the things I look for. But importantly, like you said earlier, that all of these things boil down to being having a heart to receive.
Oh yeah.
Right, having a
Oh
heart to
yeah.
receive. So if what you learn, if what you learned in your childhood is all that you want to learn, what's the use of getting married?
it really wouldn't be a use, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, so
It'd
you
be
through
no need.
learning.
Right.
You through learning. Okay. So I mean
Mm.
that's just kind of how I look at it, man. And I didn't want to. I think I kind of got off on a tangent there, but this is
Oh,
a
you good, man.
this
Good
is a
conversation.
heavy
Yeah.
it's a heavy subject. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of men out there that don't understand what's going on with why a lot of these women are so angry and defiant and da 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 and upset, you know, and we, you have guys that are doing everything that they can to make sure that their house is right, and it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to the old saying, "Happy life, happy wife," and that's the biggest crock of mess
Mm-hmm.
I've heard in my life. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you have a happy wife, lots of times you have an unhappy husband if she's the only one that's happy.
If she don't want to happy, exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
right, right.
Happiness should not be for one partner.
It should. It's not. It's not.
And see, and I'm gonna say this too, McKinney, because you kind of just touched on something for me
Okay, Jamal.
about how you growing up, and so I think my thing is this, man. If you if and we got to be honest with ourselves, we got to start looking at the root of some of the stuff that is going on and why some of the stuff is happening the way it's happening.
Right.
And I think I think men and women have a part to play in all of it.
Okay.
But I will say this, um, because like we said a moment ago, there's a lot of single ladies out here who are raising these children,
Right.
whether they be male or female that they're raising. There's a lot of single
Okay.
ladies that they're raising,
Right.
and some of that, the vast, I would endeavor to say, and I could be wrong, but I would endeavor to say that the majority of these are because of either a failed relationship or a relationship that may have been non-existent.
Okay.
Okay.
Expound on that.
A failed relationship may have been the one that was you may have been boyfriend, girlfriend, the baby was conceived, y'all fell out, so could have been some infidelity going on, who knows, whatever,
Right.
or could have possibly even a failed marriage. I go there too.
Okay.
But the one that was non-existent, that could have been that night you was out, y'all was on y'all turn up stuff, and lo
Right.
and behold, the baby come. Lo and behold, we have a baby now.
Gotcha.
You
Okay.
know, and um, and I say that because now, with a lot of these women who are raising these children,
Right.
a lot of them are frustrated and a lot of them are tired,
Right.
and they have lost some of them, and I would say they have lost a lot of hope in men.
Okay.
Some of them have lost hope in men, and subconsciously, whether they realize it or not, they pass a lot of this on to their children.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
even in the smallest of comments about your daddy wasn't this, or I get so tired of you acting like them such and such them your such and such folks, and
Yeah.
that and I say it because I can't, and I will be honest, even though my mother and father divorced, my mother I can honestly say with no hesitation that my mother never spoke down or ill of my father in my presence at all. She
Well, I
never did.
mean, we
And,
got to look.
huh?
I mean, that's kind of You beating the odds.
And even when I go back and I think about it, I can't think of her saying anything derogatory about him. Now there's some things that I
My
knew,
mom didn't either.
but she never said it is what I'm
My
saying.
mama didn't
So
either.
I'm not trying to say I didn't know certain things,
Right.
but she never said it. She never made it a point to point it out to me.
I get it.
I had some other adults who said stuff that she never said.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
but
So
then
you,
but I'm even basing some of what I'm saying now, even off just what I've heard as an educator amongst and just hearing parents
oh,
and hearing how they dialogue about, you know, the one who's around and who's not around. It's like
wow.
it's wild for some of the stuff that they say.
Right.
And like they don't know me from anyone, but yet and still they're talking about personal family dynamics around me. And then you wonder why your child is confused and why your child is at school acting out.
I mean, shoot, Jamal, when you got a male that's growing up with a female now, and then we all know we're in a whole different age right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. You know, my dear gone.
Right.
My dear
Right.
gone. So now we got young women that's, you know, they club goers and da, and they raising children, and, you know, lo and behold, they
Mhm.
working, they trying to have a good time, and they dealing with these different dudes or whatnot, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
So with that being said, so you gotta I remember growing up, I'm gonna tell you how deep this is.
Mhm.
There were some guys that was young kids, boys that would squat down to pee outside
Because that's what they saw.
because that's what they saw.
They didn't have a male. Not even. Let me say this. Not even their daddy. I'm not even sure that it had to be their father. They didn't have another man around to show them. Say, look, this is what you. This is the anatomy that you have. This is
Right.
what we as men do.
Just what
This
we
is how
do.
this look. This is how it looks for us.
But
You know.
Jamal, it got corrected outside
Mhm.
by another male.
Absolutely.
But can you imagine how many other things that was not good that they gave
Absolutely.
these young men?
Absolutely. That's something that's easily fixable.
Right.
But what about some of the internal stuff that you've heard
Right.
now that you've taken on and now you're beginning to act out on?
But see, that's what I was about to say to you, and I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
Are you good? Mhm.
A lot of these young men out here don't realize that they're acting strictly from their feelings,
Mhm.
and that is a predominantly female trait, if I may say.
Okay. I get
Right. Okay. If I'm mad at you,
you. Mhm.
then I'm gonna now get my gun and kill you. Or if you say something I don't like, I got to
Mhm.
get 2, 3 other guys and we going to. No, it's just a bunch of dudes out here and they feelings, man.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
And that comes from, I believe, them being raised from somebody that was strictly in that they saw that they thought it was right to be in their feelings because that's what they saw.
Yeah.
Considering
And that's why and that's why I said what I said too earlier. It's hard for somebody to give you what they don't have.
there
You
you
know,
go.
and so there are certain things that there are certain, ways of moving and ways of doing things that a man will have that women just don't, and vice versa.
I got
You
you.
know, and so oftentimes, again, not all the time, but oftentimes, I'm trying to speak in more of a generality, in a
I
general
see.
state.
Okay.
You know, more times, men, even though we may become very angry and frustrated about a situation, which is emotional, anger is an emotion.
Right.
So I know a lot of times women get mad when we say that women are more emotional. You know, men get angry too, but that's one of the primary emotions that we tend to show, or that we're allowed to show. Let me say it that way.
Right.
Or people don't have a problem when you show that
I get
emotion.
it. I get it.
Because in anything else you kind of consider weak most of the time.
There you go.
But
Right.
but a lot of even outside of that frustration and that anger, most times men will try to sit down and take a logical approach to dealing with whatever that situation is.
Right.
Most times.
Right.
That doesn't always happen with women.
It does.
Doesn't mean that that's wrong with them, but that's just not how they're wired.
I
They're
mean,
not, I'm not gonna say it's wrong, but that's just not how they're wired.
if it causes you to come to your school and try to jump on the teacher from a conversation that that child had is wrong.
Yeah, now that's wrong. Yeah.
It's wrong. Yeah.
That's wrong. Right. That's wrong. Right. Because at some point, using even using your example, what you need to try to do is make an ally of that teacher. Not saying that the teacher was. I'm not gonna say that the teacher was right or wrong. I don't know whatever that scenario is. But in the end, that child needs to see that the parent and the teacher are on the same same playing field. So that way when things come up later on, the teacher has an ally in the parent, the parent has an ally in the teacher. Because the child should be the most important focus.
Exactly.
I think in those situations like that, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay. But now,
okay, go ahead.
Look, I got a question here.
Go ahead. Yeah, you go, man.
Okay, you're a teacher. You know, a student does something that's out of the just something crazy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they say to you, and they say to the other student, "Ooh, watch what's gonna happen when my mama get here."
I don't had it too many times, sir.
I'm just
too
saying.
Many times, man.
That's not,
I had it too many times.
Right. So that's letting you know that okay, you feel that your mother, you used to your mother condoning your behavior.
Oh, absolutely. You feel like your mother's gonna condone your behavior. You feel like no matter what has transpired, your mama's already coming to your defense to come chump me off, fight me, whatever you want her to do, cuss me out, whatever you want to happen. You know, so and you're already convinced that that's gonna happen upon your mother knowing what's going on. You know, and so to me that and see there's a lot that I take from those kind of comments. Some of what I just explained just now. However, I will say this too, that those parents need to make sure that they understand that what you may be helping to condone now may wind up being something that you are very, very frustrated with yourself, or that you may find out that later on that you hate that you condoned it.
Wait a minute,
because
we have
because now because I'm sorry, what we got?
We got a question.
Do you hold accountability to the man or to the woman? I think there's a shared level of accountability that we need to have. However, I think as it relates to I think I guess it depends on what we're talking about. I'm not sure when that comment came up. Or what necessarily what we were talking about at the time,
right?
Because I know when we're talking about considering the source about challenging the stuff that we've been taught.
Okay.
Oftentimes I think that's a hard appeal. I guess it depends on who you are, but a lot of times women definitely don't like to be challenged. I can tell you that. A lot of women don't like to be challenged on what they have been, or on what they feel may be. All of us don't like to be challenged because some of us have egos and issues, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, and I say that, and the reason I say this is because for the most part, when a man sits down and he thinks about it, whether my ego is bruised or not, I think I'll tend to make a decision based on me coming out in the best possible way in the end.
Right. But see, now here I am on one side of the screen, you on the other side, and we got two different dynamics going on here. We come from two different places, right?
Absolutely.
And hold on 1 second, Jamal. We got somebody else want to come in. Hold on.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Miss Charisma.
How you doing?
Hi, Miss
How you doing?
Hi there, McKinney, Jamal.
Hey, it's good to see
hello,
you.
Miss Charisma. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm glad you came in because I didn't have my chat side up, and when I opened it, I noticed that there was a question there that said, do you hold on, let me put it up.
Okay.
This was the question. Right. Now, Charisma is life lessons. So the question is, do you hold accountability to the man or the woman? Okay. Wow. Okay, let me start out. Let me ask you that question, Miss. What do you think about that, Miss Charisma?
Why is my
No, you're fine now.
Okay. Okay, can you repeat the question again, Mike?
The question is, who has accountability in this situation, the man or woman? What do you think about that?
Well, because when I came on, I came in on I think it was Jamal was saying that it should be a male or somebody there. So that's the question I wanted to ask you guys. who
Oh, okay.
who is accountable for there not being a father there? Do we say the woman or do we say the man?
Mm.
Well, can I say this? Let me
Mhm.
say this, and I'll use me as an example for this. Like I said, my mother and father divorced. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
However, my mother did not keep other men from being able to be. Um, she did not. She did not kind of keep. She didn't keep me from my father, nor did she keep me from other men who were
Okay.
able to kind of speak into my life and to work with me. There were men at church that I was able to be around. There were other
Mhm.
men. I had a neighbor across the street that if I could Mr. Joe Gardner. I hope you don't mind me calling it Mr. Joe Gardner. I used to literally walk across the street to that man's house
Mhm.
every Saturday or Sunday night, or
Mhm.
Saturday day or early Sunday morning for him to show me how to tie my tie.
Okay.
I literally some days I would halfway get it, and we'll take it loose and start back over, and I would mess it up again. I would take a new tie every week because I still couldn't figure it out. That
Okay.
man worked with me for years to
Wow.
do that.
Okay.
I mean, and then when I started trying to do bow ties, he showed me how to do that kind of stuff. So I mean, and that was a man right across the street from my house. But again,
Mhm.
I had men in my church. I had men who were part of the fraternity that I wound up joining later on in life. They used to work with me, come get me on like Friday evenings and Saturdays and do stuff with me.
Right.
So, and then when I was able to spend time with my father, I did that as well. So
Okay.
Mhm.
I will say this now, in the regard that if the mother is keeping, I'm not gonna say just the father, because the father may be in a situation. It may not be depending on the situation. The father might not be a good person for that child to be around. I don't know that situation, but
Right.
Okay.
I will say this: you should not allow that. You should not have a young boy
Mhm.
who cannot have access to a man.
Mm. I agree.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
and if you hinder that, if you hinder him from having access to that man, then you are indeed hindering his development into becoming a young man.
There you go.
Okay. Right.
Because you can't get, there are certain things as a mother you just will not be able to give to him.
I agree.
Mhm.
And
Totally
as much
agree.
and I think, I don't know if you were on or not, Miss Charisma, but it's like I made the statement earlier that I know a lot of women may not like,
What?
but you can't be his mother and his father.
Mm. Well,
That may not sound good, but it's just
I agree.
impossible. You can't be his mother and his father. You may be a darn good mama,
Mhm.
and you may have went above and beyond. You may have
Mhm.
taken him and done things with him that no one has ever else would have thought to do as a mama. But you
Right.
can't be his mom and his dad. That's just
Completely
impossible.
agree.
Right.
Because there's
Completely.
certain things you cannot give to him.
I don't care how much fried chicken you done cooked. You can't do
You
Exactly.
can't
You
do
just
it.
can't do it. And
But
and, and, vi-
right.
and, vi-
Mhm.
and vice versa. I can't be, if I was a single father. Can I say this? Have you ever know? Have I've never seen a man claim to be mother and father.
Nope. Wow.
I've never
Never
seen it.
heard it.
Never
I've
heard
never
it.
seen a
Never
man
heard
say,
it.
I'm her mama and her daddy.
So
I've
wait
never
a
heard a
minute.
man say it.
So you mean to tell me
But I hear
that
women say they're mother and father all the
so
time.
you
Yes, you
got some
do.
women out here that
Mhm.
actually aspire to be men.
They do.
It would
Okay.
seem that way.
They
What's
do.
your
It would
opinion on
seem that
that,
way.
charisma?
Because they become so masculine in this time that they feel the need to let me go back. The independent role that
Mm,
came out
mm,
Right.
where
mm-hmm.
women, they was caught up in just being so independent. And
Right.
so therefore, if I'm just this independent woman, I don't need a man. And
Wow.
therefore, if I don't need a man, my children don't need one either.
Really?
So that's to me where that role came in. I'm the mama and the daddy. And it became so I can remember back a while when I was on Facebook a while back.
Okay.
And when Mother's Day come around or Father's Day come around, all you hear women say is, I want to send, especially Father's Day, I want to
Ooh,
send a
dear
shout out to
goodness.
myself for being a mom and a father. How is
Wow.
that
Oh my,
possible?
Wow.
oh my God.
Why
Miss
would you
Charisma,
take the credit? But men never do
never,
that.
never asked for it. Miss Charisma, I literally kind of had to kind of take a step back a couple years ago,
Hmm.
and because I literally would almost kind of get into almost verbal spats with people
Hmm.
about that, because I would just say, I think one time I said it to someone. I said that if your issue was this, that you picked, that you had a bad pick with whoever your child's father is or whatever,
Right.
then y'all deal with that. But don't disrespect fathers
Right.
by saying, because to me that's just a disrespectful term. It's just a disrespectful way of
Yeah, you're making a blanket statement.
try to make that claim, right? To
Right.
say that that you could be his mother. That no, you're not. You can't
You're
be.
not.
Whoever that child's father is their father.
Right.
Now whether you feel like you, and again, and you have to take accountability for who you pick.
Well.
Now they might have sent a representative, but you still picked them.
But
You
see,
chose that.
I want to ask you
Right.
something, Rib.
Okay.
See, we got on this segment, look at the top, we're saying consider the source.
Okay.
Okay, so we was talking a little earlier, and I was like, well, we're gonna talk, but we don't have a woman on to give a perspective, right?
Right.
Now we have a woman on.
Okay.
So we want to know, are we accurate when we think that, when we start to kind of delve into the fact that these women may have gotten a lot of the misinformation from their mom?
That's exactly where they got it from.
Okay.
That's exactly
Okay.
where they got it from. All we
Okay.
got to do is go back and look at when the times changed.
Okay.
Where I could take my mother's generation.
Okay.
Before then, you saw more Black women stand with their spouses.
Okay.
But then that revolution came along during the 60s and so forth after the 60s, where
Right.
Black women became so independent. So what they started screwing to their daughters was that you go off and you be independent. You go make your own money. They stopped teaching family. They stopped teaching marriage, working together.
Right?
Okay.
And
Right.
the minute that you can, it's nothing wrong because, and I'm gonna say this is for the elementary school women who are gonna take this the wrong way.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong with having a source of income.
Right.
The split started to happen when you directly tell your daughters to go be independent, because at that moment you separate them from the man.
Wow.
Ooh, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You separate them when you directly tell them go be independent, go off and get a degree. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
To have a source of income, but when we start to teach strictly independence, you separate them. So if you're not the independent, you don't need a man.
So, Rizzo, what prompted the mothers? What were they doing? The mothers doing that made them feel that was good information to give their daughter. What were they doing?
It was what were they doing? They was out. They saw a world.
Okay.
Well,
Come on now.
okay. They saw a world where they can have their own housing.
Okay.
They didn't need a man for that.
All right. Now we're talking.
They wanted to, they had to, the government start giving them checks and stuff. And
All
if we go back and we truly look at it,
Right.
we were the only race of women that decided that when the government took that study, because it was a study done, it was not something that just sprued out.
Okay.
They did a study on all women.
Right.
But black women was the only one, when the study was over with, agreed that they didn't want a man in their houses because they could live in government assistance. The government would give them a check.
Right.
So I don't need a man. So
Okay.
now you go
They
ahead.
They can screw who they want to at the same time.
They can have 4 or 5 jokers coming up in there paying their
let's
little,
get down to it.
yeah,
Okay.
paying their
All
little
right.
Nobody. Yeah.
rent. Yeah, I mean, come
Okay.
on.
So let me ask you this. Okay. How, looking at that model, okay, you talking about a young Black female government assistant telling their daughter this, and that, this, that, and the other, right?
Right.
How are you independently on government assistance gonna tell your daughter to go get a degree and be independent? What?
That's where I think the confusion is like, wow, that's the
Tell you,
delusion.
man.
It's a
That don't make
delusion.
sense.
It doesn't make
Makes
sense.
no sense at all.
So what
Don't
it
make
does,
sense.
you preaching separation.
There you go.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this
When they
stuff,
start having these boys,
right.
and ain't no man around, like Mr. Jamal said. Well, even if it's not the father, it should be somebody that you
Somebody.
can look up to.
Somebody.
But see, if
Somebody.
women don't respect men, They don't
not
don't
gonna
care
do that.
nothing about that. And that's what to me it comes more to black women have a sense of they do not respect black men.
They don't.
Because they'll go work. Now I'm gonna say this.
I got something I want to say too, Chris.
Say
Go
it.
ahead.
Okay.
No,
They'll go work on these other racist jobs, meaning
Okay.
they don't look like us.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
And they can be humble. They know how to behave.
Yep.
Right.
But it's when they come
Mhm.
home or have to deal with a man who looks like you guys,
Right.
Mhm.
they have a sense of no respect. They don't even know how to do that. But they know how to do it. They just choosing not to do it.
They just did
Mama.
it. They just did it 8
Mama.
hours ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They just did
Right.
it 8 hours ago.
8 hours ago.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yep.
Right.
That's it.
Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, she literally took it out. Almost took it out my mouth.
Okay.
I mean, because it's not an issue of can you, it's an issue of do you want to
Want
or
to.
will you?
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Because it's obvious, like you said, it's obvious when you go show up and be who you are at your 9 to 5, you
Okay.
present yourself a certain way because you know that's what you need to do to continue to stay there.
Yes. Yes.
But when
Okay.
but now that you walk away from your 9 to 5, all of a sudden now you take that off. And
Mhm.
now you want to come home and lash out, or now you want to come home and I don't care, do what you want to do, blah blah blah, all this
Yeah.
other stuff, and it's like
Well, Jamal, they're saying
you
that
you only have so long to do that to someone before they say, okay, you know what,
I'm
I'm
done.
done.
you know,
Mhm.
Yeah. But I mean, because it's saying that if you can't provide me X amount of dollars an hour with a 401k
Mhm.
and dental, and then I don't respect you.
They're right.
That's what it's saying.
well, I'm gonna say that. Well, I will say that. You know, it's most times men are valued based on what they can provide.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
And if you only provide if you provide this much, then that's how much we respect. If you provide this much, then that's what I respect. You're respected on the level by which you provide in most cases.
Right.
In most cases.
Okay.
Now,
Answer this.
Go
I
ahead.
beg to differ on some of that. I'm gonna tell you why.
I'll go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You can have a woman
Mhm.
that has a man that's paying all the bills.
Mhm.
That's true.
You can have her in a big mansion, the house paid for, the car paid for, and they still are gonna sleep with Sleepy Joe right down the road.
That is true too.
Well,
So
That is true.
it's just a matter of what they really like.
mhm.
You understand?
I agree with that.
It's
I
a
can agree
matter
with
of what they never did. They see. I don't think
So she must have chosen based on. So are you saying she might have chosen on comfort at that moment,
of course.
or comfort and stability versus
Right, but she still
true compatibility or true sexual or whatever?
yeah, but she
okay.
still didn't tell you the truth about what she liked.
Well, let me say this from a woman's standpoint.
All right.
Is it wrong for a woman to choose a man based on his ability to lead and provide?
No.
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 Okay.
No. No.
I don't think that should be the only criteria though.
Okay.
All no.
Okay.
But
It definitely needs to be a part of the criteria. I feel.
Right.
Yeah, because look, water, gas, and light don't accept love checks.
At
know,
all.
They
They
ain't
don't
taking
accept
them, man.
love checks.
Right.
Yeah.
At all.
But I think no matter what the situation is, if you are deciding to marry, you still have just a decent obligation to respect that man.
Yes, you do.
That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying.
Right.
You know, you it's okay. Okay. A lot of times people say, well, you wrong for doing something for me and expecting something back.
Mhm.
BS.
Right.
Wow. No,
If you're dealing biblically, God wants you, if you pray, he wants you to expect something.
Right.
Okay, but that's one thing.
Mhm.
If you don't expect nothing, go on Mr. Bobo's job for a whole month and then don't expect no check.
And don't let him don't pay you. Right. Exactly.
Right. Since
Right.
it's
That's a
wrong to
that's
expect
that's a
something
problem.
when you
That's
when
a
you
problem.
give,
Right.
since it's wrong to expect something back. No, that's
Well,
not.
McKinney, let me say this, McKinney, and you touch on
Okay.
something very, very important, because I literally just had this conversation with my daughter again.
Okay.
Just the other day,
Mhm.
and because we talk very openly, and I appreciate the relationship that we have, that we can talk the way we do.
All right.
And she once was telling me about this little fella who was interested in her, and because she's away at college, 5 hours away, so it's not like I can see the young fella or see her when all this is going on.
Okay.
Right.
And she would literally tell me how this little boy always would come at her, and she wasn't interested in this, that, and the third. I said, well, so you say you're not interested in him? Saying, no, I'm not. I said, well, have you told him that? He said, I tell him that all the time, because I remember you told him that before. I said, good. I said, have you taken anything from him? She said, no. I said,
Mhm.
thank you. I said,
Right.
because the
Mhm.
moment you take something from him, he is going to expect something back. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
now, it might not be today. It might not be today. It might not be tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's going to, he has an end result in mind.
Right.
Now, I don't know what his end result is, whether it's long-term relationship, whether it's to kind of hit you as fast as he can hit you, or whatever that is.
Right.
I said, oh, he may really like you and want you to be his girlfriend. I don't know, but he has something in mind. I said,
Exactly.
however, if you're not going to, if you know that you have no romantic interest in this man, in that boy, do not string him along.
Yes.
Do not accept dates from him.
Yep.
Don't sit there and go out to eat with him. Don't
Right.
let him sit there and buy you gifts, no matter how insignificant you think they are.
Right.
Don't do it. Say to him, no, I appreciate our friendship. That's where we are. I am not interested in you romantically that way. Thank you, but no thank you.
Wow.
And,
Okay.
and he may not like it in that moment. His
Right.
feelings may be hurt, but I
Right.
guarantee he will get over it. And I think eventually he will respect the fact that you did not waste his time. He can move on to another young lady who may feel for him the way he feels about you.
I
Right.
get you. I get it. Mhm.
So with that, why is it so hard? Now, your daughter is in college?
She's
So
20 years old. Yes, ma'am.
20 years old. So why is it so hard you telling a 20-year-old that? Why is it so hard? Because I got some repercussions off of that when I said
Wow.
that.
I was just about. Okay. Go ahead, Red.
Oh, really?
Yes, that you told a 20-year-old that. But we got 40 plus year old women who truly in their mind think that at their age, that if they take from men, that I guess it's almost like a gift. He just liked me that much. And I talked on that last time that you're gonna give something back, whether, like you said, is it conversation? Is it
Right.
sexual? But
Right.
he's looking for something in return. So I don't understand how older women think that they can just take and don't give anything back from it, like a one-sided situation. And,
Right.
and it's almost like they feel like men are supposed to do these things.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. Let me say. Well, I got a couple of takes on that. One of them
Okay.
is, and that kind of goes back to McKinney's topic, considering the source.
Mhm.
Some
Okay.
women have been taught that. Some women have been taught that, regardless of what.
Yeah.
That guy's supposed to. He's supposed to spend X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. Do this, that, and the third, and all that. So that's been out there for some women. That's what they feel. That's how it kind of. That's what they've been presented with.
Right.
But one thing I will say is that I don't think, and this is gonna sound kind of harsh. I'm not trying to sound harsh.
Say it.
Right.
But I'm gonna say this. Women have to understand too, and I think I said this to my daughter just again the other night too. You're only special to your parents. I love my daughter. I love, but she's special to us now.
Right.
But to some guy in the street, until
just
he gets
another
to know
woman.
you, and until he gets to know who you are, and know what values you have, who you like you said, you're just another girl right now to him.
That's
Right.
it.
So you're just the next conquest until he realizes that he wants more from you than
Wow.
a conquest.
That's real.
And so
Ooh.
you have to understand that, and that's not being rude. That's just being honest. So
Right.
it's like, though you may feel you're special because of what you have, I don't know how many women there are in the world, but all of them got what you got.
That's it.
There we go.
That goes back to that, what I call it. And to me, to me, I have a daughter. You are a princess. To
I need
us.
you to
Right.
start that statement over because we kind of lost
You
you
kind
for
of
a
blinked
split
out.
second.
Yeah, blinked out
Okay.
for a second.
Uh-huh.
The Disney princess thing that we have fed our daughters. That, you know, you're a princess, from the time they're little bitty girls can
Right.
know what it is. They dress like princes, walk around like princes. So
Mhm.
we started putting that in their head, but we don't come along and say now, yeah, to us.
Right.
But when
Right.
they start dating and getting out in the world, they had this animated mind. Because look at women, what they think about marriage and what they think about men. It's like a Disney movie. It's
Right.
like some kind of
Mhm.
fairy tale stuff.
Right.
Even when they start talking about marriage, it's almost like it's a fairy tale because what they're doing is it's the day that they're considering. They're not
Yep.
considering anything past that day. So they
Right.
these princes for that, but they don't understand. Don't nobody.
Right.
Come on, you don't live in. You wasn't raised in a castle.
Right.
Right.
Your mother wasn't a queen, and
Right.
I'm gonna touch on that later. That queen stuff. I blame y'all men for that. I blame
Okay,
y'all
but
for that.
we
And-
do hold
and-
some responsibility. in it.
There's
Yeah.
some exactly
do.
they go on
We
both
do.
sides. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
let me ask you this: we're talking about what younger women are taught, what older women are doing. Okay,
Mhm.
this is a question. So when they think that, what do they normally lead with when they're trying to encounter a man?
They normally, when they think,
What
what
do
now?
they normally lead with? If they think that, what has their mother told them, hey, this certain thing about you gives you a pass on everything. What?
What we just talked about.
I'm just, because I want to be
Okay.
clear. I'm gonna
Yeah,
say,
okay.
I
Okay.
believe that they've been told that their vagina is the key to life.
That's it.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I believe.
You're told that from probably 13 years old, they start throwing this mess in your head. Not the fathers. These are mothers that are
Right,
throwing this stuff in their daughter's head. That
right,
if you got that, then your ticket, girl, your ticket to the world, that's your ticket right there.
right, right.
So it's
Mhm.
nothing else really taught behind that. Now, some women will take it, where they tell them that's your ticket, and then they also tell them about to go and get these degrees and stuff.
Okay.
But just think
Mhm.
about the girls who don't even get taught that part, to go off
Yeah.
and make something of yourself. Only
Okay.
part they getting taught is to use what they got
All right.
Right.
to get what they want. So
use
now
what
you got a whole bunch of girls
Mhm.
out here that's using what they got,
Yeah.
and like Jamal said, every woman possess one of them.
Right.
So it's not. I mean, what makes yours so special?
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Okay. So is it a form of being taught to engage in legal prostitution almost?
This is to
In
the
some
highest
instances, yeah.
bidder.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right.
Because
Yeah.
she's not gonna tell him to go give little JoJo down there who is washing cars. She ain't gonna tell her daughter to go get him done.
Right.
We're
Right.
trying to tell her daughter to go see Todd up there, who may be the GM at the bank or something like that.
I
Mhm.
got you. I got you.
So
Right.
yeah, it's you. They sell their daughters into prostitution, however they want to see it.
Right.
That's
And-
That's what it is.
Okay. Thank you.
And McKinney, now you know I'm kind of all over the place with my music and all that kind of stuff. I don't listen to so much stuff and all that stuff throughout life. But now you do know you do know a lot of that stuff is perpetuated with what we say too. A lot of the song that we sing too now. That,
Yeah,
that,
it
that,
is.
that we don't play for you. I mean, look at Beyonce. What that was Destiny Child. I want to say, all the ladies independent,
Single women.
all
Yeah.
that. Listen to look at us. Because at that point she talked stuff on my feet. I bought it. I got it. Whatever it was.
Right.
Then like what of the TSC? I don't want no scrub. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Right.
don't need no joker who ain't got basically you ain't got none on.
Oh man, they got what that song broke niggas can't get no, and then they say
Oh,
that's
it's-
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot out there now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, I think there's a level of conventional wisdom in that.
Mhm.
In some of that stuff, from a practical standpoint. But then I think there's some other stuff that kind of gets intertwined and all that stuff too, because like you said, if you're not careful or if you don't put some context in some of that stuff, it turns into exactly what you just said. Like you almost basically telling your daughter, hey, if he driving right, he got enough money or whatever. I don't care what else come with it. I don't care what else come with that. That's what you need to go do.
Sure do.
Man,
Look
if
at
that
look
girl,
at look
if
at
that
look
girl,
at look
if
at
that, go ahead.
look at the little Tyler Perry movie. I don't even remember what one it was, boo.
Don't you get on him.
The one I don't really care for it, like, but I'm just
Mm-mm.
gonna. It was one of the movies. I'm trying to think the one when
What she threw the
the
dude in
mama.
the tub?
Not that one. Not that one. No, I'm talking about the one when Blair Underwood was the little rich dude, had the little money. He
Yeah.
was
Okay.
beating. He was
Oh,
beating the
yeah, yeah,
daughter.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
When
He
she
was
whooped
he
him
was beating the daughter.
with the throw the
And
hot grits on him.
Yeah.
at the end, right? She beat him up with the
Right.
grits.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
but look, her mama literally. Think
Right.
about it. Her mama literally was like, "Look, that man got this.
This
That
and that.
man do this at the bank. He got this, that, and the third."
Mm-hmm.
That girl said, "I don't want to be with him. I don't want to fool with him. I don't scared. No, you finna take your butt home to be with that man tonight.
The night. That's right.
Right.
You finna go back."
Yep.
Right.
Now, of course, we know the mama's stealing the good money too. On top of that, he giving her access to the money, but
Mm-hmm.
you didn't care what your daughter was dealing with.
No.
Right.
But you just looking at who he was and what kind of bread he had, what kind of he drove, right, looked the part, all that stuff. And that
Right.
girl scared to go home.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Wow.
I
But
want
you
to
don't care.
add two things to that.
Okay. I got
The first one, I want to go back a little bit. The first one was that, I can remember probably about 14 or 15 years old. And I know the saying probably had been out, but that's
Okay.
when I first can remember when I started hearing that. I remember a man used to ask a woman, and I could was at the mall, and they would ask the woman, "What's your name?" And these women would say, "Rent due light bill lady." I can remember that. 14 years old.
Right. Right.
Rent due light bill.
Rent due light bill lady. So in other words, if you don't have any funds for me, get on out
I
my
ain't got no
face.
talk for you.
Wow.
I ain't got no talk for you.
Wow. So
So we know that's how we know that this has been taught. This started with our mothers, that they started this thing. If a man don't have any money or nothing to offer you, then I don't have a conversation for him.
right. So
And
My
go ahead.
that kills the theory of a man and woman getting together, building something together.
Mm-hmm.
It kills it. But
Yes.
and I'm trying to say how we see the results of it, because when I go to Publix or to the mall, all of the older couples are from other races.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the older couples, is rare that I see an old African American couple together.
Yes.
It's rare.
Very rare.
Right.
But in every other culture, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
So that should let you know that relationships, marriages, and being together has been under attack. I don't know how long.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You
I
see
want
what
to.
I'm saying?
I want to make this point before it slips my mind.
Okay.
Don't it seems like when the women, especially older women, who are teaching their daughters this, as he was relating to the movie, that's almost setting your daughter up so that you can make sure, because the mother was not married.
Right.
Right. She was
So
not.
she's setting her daughter up so that her daughter can take care of her too.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
That's what it does.
So because they know that they're older, they haven't been, even if, and this don't, back to the elementary women, before somebody says this does not apply to a widow, a woman who is a widower. I'm speaking firmly to women who are not attached or have never been attached to a man.
Okay.
That, as far as marriage wise,
Okay.
that, it's almost like you're setting your daughters up so that they can take care of you
That's what they're doing.
when you're old age, instead of having a man there to make sure that you're taking care of, or y'all taking care of each other during your old age.
Right.
But if I can get my daughter married well, I ain't got to deal with no man.
Wow.
Right. Ooh,
Right.
man.
I feel sorry for that dude.
I do too. I
Right.
do too.
But I want to bring another point out in that movie that we were just discussing. You realize the woman that got the most attention from her mom was doing some things that she didn't want to do.
Mhm.
The one that didn't get attention was actually reared in a better way.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. If I had to guess, I would guess that her sister probably got a lot of her personality from her grandparents. if you look at the difference. Because there were two women there, and they came out of the same woman, lived in the same house, but they had different perspectives because when mama had a negative relationship with one daughter, and then she had a direct contact with the other one, and you can see where something went wrong with that parent and the parenting that she gave one, and the one didn't get direct
If I,
contact. And
if I remember correct, and I
Right.
think this is another dynamic we see play out. If I remember correctly about that movie,
Okay.
I think the one that was younger, the younger daughter
Okay.
who was trying to get pushed toward Blair Underwood,
Right.
her dad is the one that left Lynn Whitfield. But I think he left
okay.
Lynn Whitfield because the other sister said he was trying to mess with her.
That is correct.
And the mama got mad at that daughter because she basically tried to put it on blast that the man was doing this, but she didn't want to deal with that.
Oh man, that's a whole different subject. Damn,
She didn't want to deal with that, so she
Right.
was trying to push the other girl out.
Right.
Like she wanted to, she like tell her she was alive. She did that and the third, and
Right.
but yeah, so like basically, and like, I think because toward the end she said how like I think like she all like you ruined my life or something. Like you
Right.
make the man
Wait a
leave.
minute.
all that
man.
stuff.
Ooh, man, you just hit something so deep. So
Like-
you
Right.
mean to tell me it ain't just deep to the point where a mama is pimping her daughter out to take care of her. She will also even have her daughter deal with rape.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that
You
is what they
understand?
did, right?
Mhm.
hmm
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you see where you saw the mother was knew her daughter was being abused.
Yes.
Right.
She knew her daughter was being abused. She knew the girl was scared to go back to the guy.
Right.
Yet instead, you came with a sole intent for her to go back to this man
Mm-hmm.
because it was going to provide a level of comfort.
For
Because
what reason?
because it was going to provide some comfort for you.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
That's what Charisma said earlier.
So you literally push your daughter to go back
Mm-hmm.
to help
Right.
make sure that you were good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question, Chris, because I kind of asked your mom some questions earlier and talking about considering the source in his life and how it shaped him, and I want to pose that question to you. How did the source of your beginning shape who you were and who you are right now?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I was raised with my mother and my stepfather.
Okay.
So, but because of who my mother was,
Okay.
it she was very, into let me see how to put this.
She probably was maybe a strong,
She was-
straightforward
yeah.
black woman.
Yeah, she was a real strong woman.
Okay.
And so everything, her strength. So basically, what she gave me was most of her strength, and it was a sense of knowing how to be a woman.
I get it.
You hear when they say, it's a saying now that they're going around saying, "Were you raised to be a wife?"
Right.
And at first,
okay.
I said, no, not really. But when I go back and I look at the different things that she was setting me up, I didn't know it then.
But what
I
does
was
that-
really
what-
being
What does that mean? Raised to be help me, cause I ain't never heard.
okay.
It. What does that mean?
Well, some women are just raised to be. You just raised to be. Go out there and take care of yourself. But when you're raised to be a wife, most women are already you come to a man already knowing.
Okay.
And what that man, to me, he'll what y'all do is y'all kind of mold that woman for you.
I see.
But she already is supposed to come knowing how to be a wife. A wife is something that, you can go, they're doing now with the classes and stuff. But honestly, that's something you're supposed to be taught in your parents' house.
Wow.
And that's why you get
Ouch.
women.
That's gonna hurt some toes there.
Well, it's the truth.
You
Some of
got
these-
some
Yes,
toes
sir.
there, girl. Yeah.
Some of these women, they think they're wise, but they're not wise. If you were not taught, I'm finna go ahead and do this.
Go ahead, Miss Charisma. I think you're finna go somewhere I want to go.
I believe so too. Let's come on.
When my mother cooked,
Right.
it was taught that my stepfather had to plate first.
Mm-mm.
Even when I cooked,
Right.
his plate was fixed first.
I get it.
Mm-mm.
even my brother
Mm-mm.
was able to, he had a play. Everything was kind of not so, I'm not gonna say built around that, but it was, I was already prepared on some things as how to run a household.
Setting the foundation.
Set the foundation. So
She gave you a blueprint and some structure.
right, but I didn't know that then.
Okay.
So when I got my husband, it was certain stuff that was, it just came natural
It
because I
happened,
had
yeah.
already been taught to be a wife.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what these men are getting now, they're not wives.
May I
No,
ask a
because they
question,
weren't
Mr.
taught
Ray?
from it.
Wait. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that they're not getting wives? They may be getting wolves?
Oh, plenty of those. See, you know, you can pretend all day.
I get it. Okay.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're not getting that. These
Miss Charisma,
because
may I
it's
ask a
so
question?
much of me. When you're taught to be a wife, you already know that notion that, you know, I come from you. If you're a wife, you already know that you do not come in that line first.
There you go.
You somewhere third or fourth,
Right.
and you okay with it.
Okay.
Because see, your reward is something much greater anyway.
Okay.
When you're a wife, I ain't
Yeah.
talking about these old independent, modern, whatever they is nowadays.
Werewolf.
Right. Right.
Oh no, I'm just being funny, but
No, it's the truth.
I think Jamal wants to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. So I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and what do you say to the because I've seen this float around a couple of times on social media. What do you say to the women who say they're not going to do wifely duties
Ooh.
Don't get married.
when they're not a wife yet?
I don't say anything to them. What do you mean? What I tell the man?
For some reason.
Right. Okay.
What I tell the man? Run.
Wow.
Run.
Okay.
You in trouble.
Okay.
If you're not coming in already prepared to be a wife, what? Ain't nobody got time for on the job training with that. Nobody got time. I have a son.
Yes, sir. Wow.
And I tell me and my husband are telling our sons, please don't bring that home.
Right.
You don't have time for that. You supposed to be trying to build. You got to go out there and feed your family. You ain't got time to be up here fooling with no woman who ain't came already trained to do this stuff.
What you talking about?
That's too much time.
You're right.
And then some of them are, some of them have children that they bring in with them. So now, not only you got to train her, you got to train her child that has no discipline or nothing. So, no, what I tell them, I don't tell her anything because that's a lost cause. I'll tell the man, run. Yeah.
So
sorry.
wait, because there's something in that because she stated, Charisma stated that I don't tell her nothing. So that leads me to believe that you already know that they already understand they got some BS going on from off the top.
Yes.
Wow.
See, because if his question, okay, if you saying, what do I tell her? Okay, so if she's saying that I'm not going to do any wifely stuff, but if you reverse that back to the man,
right?
A man come in, he has to pay for the date. Right. He got to pay for anything he going on. Ain't no woman paying for that. Right. So why is a man off the rip supposed to come being a man if a woman telling you that she's not going to do wifely duties, but he got to come in being a husband, basically?
Oh, wow. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
I see what you're saying. So you're expecting me to be dealing with all my husbandly duties and then deal with you not having any wifely duties at all?
None.
Wow. I get it.
None.
Wow.
None.
Wait a minute. That sounds like that's one of the biggest tricks I've ever been pulled.
Well, they pulling them. They good at it too.
Yeah.
They are. They are. Because the only thing they want to do is be pretty. And they think they're supposed to just sit around and be pretty.
Right,
I mean, you can just look at how they think.
right.
You know, and I stay so focused on the women now because I see that we are more of the problem than the men are.
Okay.
We're more the problem here
What brings you to that understanding, that conclusion?
because of what y'all been talking about the whole time. Men already know what they're supposed to do. Now you get a few in there who, you know, don't know, but it's very rare that a man don't know his place.
I got you.
See, women been told that we ain't got a place.
Wow.
Modern women, we don't have a place, and they hate to hear it.
They have a place it's called out of place.
Right. Right, out of place.
Yeah, it's
Right.
called out of place.
Yes.
Hold on, let me bring him back in.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
Mhm.
See, let me show you how I know this. Another reason I know that this thing is like just real bad. I've been riding on several different occasions,
Mhm.
and I pull over because I see a couple out there with their tire flat or whatnot, and I see that these are young couples.
Mhm.
When I get there, I'm there to offer my assistance to that man,
Mhm.
to that young man.
Right.
Mhm.
But I don't. It's not an assistant that he needs. He needs a whole job done
Okay.
Mhm.
because he don't know how to change a tire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So with you being the father, the mother, and the father on Father's Day, why he don't know how to change a tire?
Oh Lord Jesus.
Can I answer that though?
Please.
Because oftentimes, I'm gonna say it this way, women like some of the response, they like some of the quote unquote accolades, I will say, or stuff that may come from saying they do certain stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the work of that stuff, I don't want no parts of that.
I want to pass it. Nope.
Think
Right.
about it. Okay, let me say it this way: what woman really want to go out and cut grass?
Nobody.
What woman
Alright.
really want to go out and take trash out?
Nobody.
Well, I mean,
Right.
she'll do it if she has to, if she lives alone,
Right.
of course.
Right.
But if she's married or she has a man in that house, this certain stuff she expect that man to handle now.
Exactly.
She expects him to handle that.
So what's the flip side of that?
Oh, the flip side is he ought to be able to expect certain things from her too.
So
But today's time, he might get cussed out if he asks her to do certain stuff.
Right. So let me get this correct. So I am supposed to be expected to do what I'm supposed to do and have no expectation on you. And if I bring up what I expect from you, then you mad.
Oh yeah.
Wow, man.
Then you ain't a real man. You insecure.
Right.
You might hear that you gay. You might hear all kind of stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh
You might hear all
man.
kind of stuff
Right.
when that kind of stuff come up now. And I mean, and I say that because I've seen it. I've seen that kind of stuff play out before, honestly.
Jamal,
And
man,
it's
you
sad.
really-
It's sad. But
what I
it
really
happens.
want to say now might get us muted, but y'all go ahead.
I want to say this right here. I gotta say this.
Go ahead.
Oh, because I hear this all the time
All right, Carissa.
with females.
Okay.
You ain't a real man. You know, you don't know what a real man is. Blah blah blah. And let me tell you what this come from women who were never one of them, half of them who are saying were not raised with a father.
Right.
You've never, and every joker that you don't pick, you knew better. So how do you even know what a real man is when you never seen one from the get-go? You don't know what a real man is.
You don't.
You don't know.
Because my question to her would be, if you've had a real man, why aren't you still with that real man?
Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Wow.
Because I mean, if you know what one is and you've had access to him, or why aren't you with him?
Yep. Yep.
And I know
Yes,
that sounds
sir.
hard. I know that sounds tough.
No.
But that's just honest. Like, why aren't you with him then?
Yeah.
I get it.
Because everyone tends to do Well, how is it? Everyone pretty much everyone goes to where they feel like they can where they can be what they you're not gonna let me say you're not gonna go less than what you feel you deserve.
There you go.
Whoa.
Let me say it like that.
Right.
So
Okay.
so if you got that real man in front of you, or you know these real men, where is he for you?
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Why you
Since you-
criticize this guy over here saying what he's not?
Since you
And
know,
where is yours then?
right?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Now, you
And the same
know,
and the same thing for men saying about women. Same thing for men.
Mhm.
I'll go there too.
but we gotta look. I'm looking at what Karima is saying. She
Yeah.
is saying that because when I say something in regards to a woman, you know, I don't want to backpedal and fear retribution because men are trying to come out of that.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly. You can't.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with that being said, we when we have a woman on that's speaking honestly from the standpoint of a woman,
Mhm.
so she pretty much let us know, hey, you guys, you know, you out there in the world, a lot of you guys have been bamboozled.
Boozled.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
You've been bamboozled,
Yes.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So, and that's just the God honest truth, you know,
Absolutely.
you know, or whatnot, you know, the way she's speaking about it, and you know, it's some truth to what she's saying because I've had enough life experiences to see it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I have enough life experience to see it. So I just appreciate you for coming with this opinion that's just well needed, Karil.
Can I say one more thing before you?
You can say what? No, we here.
Okay. I can remember when my son was our son was like maybe no more than 2 years old.
Okay.
And my husband, he used to work out of town a lot.
Okay.
And he had been gone for a couple of weeks, no more than a couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I remember he came home
Right.
because, you know, women have a tendency, I don't know, some about them boys.
Okay.
We have a tendency to love up on them and the kid, you know,
Mhm.
always want to hold them. Now,
Right.
we love our girls too, but it's just something about them boys.
Right.
And he had been gone. And when he came home, he was so mad because my son, he was just crying all the time for no reason.
Okay.
And you know, when he was, you know, he was so mad with me. He said, "You know what? You pocket him. You know, you can't raise him this way." Oh, he was mad. And I always tell him from that experience, because at that time I was like, "Oh, he my baby, whatever." But the older he started getting,
Right.
I always tell my husband, I say, "I'm so happy that I had you here with me, because
Mhm.
what I was gonna raise was gonna be a boy who was gonna be no good for a woman,
I'm glad
because
you
Oh,
said that. My goodness.
he
God,
wasn't gonna be no
no.
good for no woman."
Right.
And I mean, we at least once a week, when I look at my son now,
Right.
I say, "Lord, thank you for my husband, because I
Yeah.
couldn't have did that job. That was not my
Mhm.
job to do."
You see the man in him.
I see the
That's
man
it.
in him.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes.
You see the
That's
man
it.
in him. And
Yes.
then I can't understand how these women look at their sons and see the woman in them and think that's all right.
Oh,
And I'm
Oh
not
my
saying them
gosh.
being gay or nothing, but I'm just saying just how emotionally
Mhm.
driven they are.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
I
my
don't
and my
get
thing
it.
and my thing is this: you have to be, and like Miss Charisma just said, if most women took if they took an honest assessment and say, would I date my own son?
Damn.
Because
Oh,
you got to
oh,
think about it, because that's your product now.
right.
Is he somebody that I would
That's
date,
that's heavy,
That's
Jamal. That's
that's
heavy.
heavy there.
would I take my daughter? Would I want my daughter to date a boy like my son?
Wow.
I mean,
Oh man.
if your answer to that is no, then you have to
You got more
you
work
have
to
to
do.
take accountability. You have to take accountability for first of all for what it is that you have been doing, and
Right.
make a decision to try to do something different,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
and be okay with the fact that it may not include you,
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Okay.
because
Wow.
because somebody may need to help deprogram some of that.
That's real.
That's
real,
real
Jay.
talk right there.
That's real.
Oh yes.
Right.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
And but again, that just takes you being open and honest with yourself and having a level of emotional maturity to say, okay, you know what, I could have been part of the issue, and more than likely, I am the issue. And it's because if I'm the primary teacher, because like I truly believe parents are going to be your primary teacher, and pretty much your mama is your first teacher. I mean, so it's like if you're looking at the product that you got, who if you go buy a car right now, who you gonna go back to? The manufacturer, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna go back to them.
Yeah.
Something wrong with their car.
Yeah, wow. Oh my goodness.
You go back to them and say, okay, I see it look good over here on the outside, but
right.
when I turn the AC on, it don't blow cool. When I do this, when I
All right,
turn it up,
Jamal, you
it's
stepping
a
up the
ticket.
toes
It's
there,
a tick
man.
in it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's
That
what
is
it
true.
Wow.
I mean,
You
you
don't.
you
Woo.
got to be honest with yourself, though.
Right.
You just got to be honest about that kind of stuff, and know that, okay, yeah, I might have done that, but now what can I do to help correct some of that?
Yeah.
Mm.
I get it. I get it. So
Especially if you
let me
have
ask
more than one child in the mix.
But see, Jamal, it's Charisma saying what she said kind of prompted you to open that up, because Charisma, whether you realize it or not, by you being a woman right now speaking the way you what you consider an anomaly
Mm-hmm.
in certain situations.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's that word again.
Mhm.
But now we got to look back and consider a person that does not have any interest on doing the self-work to even deal with that.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
These are the products that we mostly got.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
These are the
Absolutely.
products. I take my hat off to you if I hold on, let me see.
I can't with you. I can't with you.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, Ma.
But
I
because
take my hat off to you. There you go.
y'all are some clowns.
Yeah.
But this is what we need to talk about, though, y'all. This is keeping our people, our communities, because we've talked about men, we don't drug y'all for years. But we starting to see women who have truly took self-work and starting to reevaluate. We starting to see that that's not the problem anymore.
Yeah.
Every social media site I get on, I end up getting disgusted because of the comments. If you hear a woman saying my husband or anything relevant to family,
Right.
these women are going so hard against this.
Well, see, Kareem, when you got comments like that, some of the things that we're saying now, it may change some of their mind, but at the least, you have a voice now that's gonna be able to combat some of that stuff.
Right.
Right.
Open. Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is good. This good. Y'all don't understand. I mean,
Yeah.
this is good.
And y'all, have y'all noticed that our community is the only community that this seems to be an issue?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever recalled hearing any other communities having these kind of issues about men and women and how they relate to one another, and this is that and the third. I mean everybody have disagreements and all that kind of stuff, but I mean as far as there's almost like almost flat out and out war, with us.
And you know who's using this against us, women, and we seem to think it's a good thing. Let's go back to when this a past election, and I know we're not on this, but because we own that.
Okay.
I told my husband, I said, y'all should be offended. Black men should be offended because they said we want to call up the backbone of the Black community. They don't consider y'all backbones of no Black community. They consider women the backbones of the community.
Wow.
What other race would allow them to say that and be okay with it?
You know why? Because so long we have accepted so much BS with no rebuttal.
Yes.
None at all.
What we're doing now is our form of starting a rebuttal against some of this foolishness that's been going on in our culture.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for one, we got okay. Well, Joker might say, "Hey, you don't identify with." Nah, I don't identify with everything that look like me.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Mm-mm.
I don't. I identify with what's right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, however, I still do identify with my culture.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And
Okay.
then you say, okay, is that right or wrong? You think no, because every other culture identifies with its
With it,
own
with
culture.
his own. Absolutely.
Wow.
So ain't
Absolutely.
nothing. Yeah, whites identify with whites, Chinese
Yep.
identify with Chinese, Mexicans.
Absolutely.
So why would you question me identifying me with my own?
Mm.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Shouldn't be an
No.
issue.
But also on top of that, I'm identifying with what's right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that, oh, because I identify with my culture, I hate all other. No.
No.
Yeah.
If you right, I'm identifying with
Right.
you.
Right.
Exactly.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you wrong, I'm not.
I'm
Yeah.
not. Exactly.
Simple as that. But it's so long that we have let so much go on, and there's so much repair that needs to be done within our culture. It's pathetic. So all of
Oh,
these
man.
platforms are necessary.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
even the ones that come on where you can see where they're making these ironic statements. In order to know what we find, we got to see what they're thinking. Put that foolishness up there so I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's deal with this. Okay. This is
Yeah.
what we got a lot to deal with, y'all.
Yeah. We
Right.
do. We
Yeah.
do.
Absolutely.
We got a lot, but I think personally, on for us out there, I think we're on the right track because it all starts at home.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yes.
It all
Oh
starts
yeah.
at home.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's looking back. It's hard dealing with considering the source because it says a lot
Mm-hmm.
about some areas that people don't, in some areas and people like that they don't want to touch.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, lo and
No.
behold, mama
Mm-mm.
and grandmama,
Woo!
granddaddy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, not them, not yeah, them.
Listen,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
was in a room maybe about a month ago
Mhm.
with an older lady,
Right,
and her conversation, because she was the oldest person in the room,
okay,
almost 70, and the way that she was talking,
okay,
you talking about what you'll do to somebody, how you was this person in your day. Now you're in a room full of nothing but young women,
right,
younger than when I say younger women, I mean in their 20s and stuff. I'm next to the oldest person in the room,
okay,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the information that you want to give to these young women.
Mm-hmm.
But and then let me tell you something. They taking it in. Now this woman was not married, was not connected to no man,
right,
and these young girls are listening to this misinformation,
right.
and they thinking that's the gospel because guess what? Grandma said it.
Yeah.
But I hate to tell you, some of grandmas were wrong.
Wrong.
So
Well.
yeah, a lot of them were,
Mm-hmm.
and then but I think it's wrong for us to. We have been taught to feel obligated not to say nothing to the source.
Get on off of here. Get on off of here,
I'm
McKinney.
just saying.
Get off of here, McKinney.
I thought we was telling the truth.
Oh, get off of here,
Well,
McKinney.
you know that was that was a time now you couldn't disagree
Oh my goodness, yes.
because that was disrespectful. You know
Yes.
and we've been taught our real. Man, I can't be disrespectful to mama, grandma, and of course you're not gonna be disrespectful, but
Yeah.
disagreeing with you is not disrespecting.
Right. So, but how can we honestly have a mind of freedom if we can't express our thoughts?
Right, you can't.
You can't.
Right. So we
can't.
got our own within our own culture saying, don't express your thoughts. We got people outside of our culture saying, oh, how dare you express your thoughts? And if you express your thoughts, a lot of times in other places you're considered to be radical.
Yes.
a
Mhm.
problem.
Problem.
There you go.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we got outside and inside bondage going on.
Yes.
So we're being
Mm.
attacked on
Mhm.
all sides.
Mhm.
So yeah, of course we're gonna have these conversations because
Mhm.
we're trying to break out of some of this stuff.
Yes.
Right.
I want
Absolutely.
my children to have a better sense of freedom than I had when I was young.
You
Yes.
should. Right. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because the freedom that I had was a false sense of freedom.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
I want my child to be as far away from that as possible.
Yeah.
Completely free, that ain't happening right now.
Isn't it amazing that we would teach our kids oftentimes to be open and express themselves to everybody except us?
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I want to say something to that.
Mm.
Because just think about it when I can remember, coming up when we was in middle school, you start seeing girls having, well, they were doing it anyway, but having babies, right?
Right.
Now, I find it very funny when you hear older people saying, "Well, how did they? Well, she was so flippant, she was so grown, and she was this and that." But y'all never paused us to have a conversation about sex.
Right.
Right.
You couldn't talk about that
Right.
Mm-hmm.
because it was almost like a disrespect. She too hot, she too grown.
Right. I got you. I got you. I hear you. I hear you loud and I hear you clear. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I want to say this too. Uh, I even, Charisma, try to go out and come back in.
Yeah, I think she froze or something.
Yeah, Let me close her out and try to bring her back in and see if that helps. Try to go out and come back in, Charisma. But I want to say that she ain't back in. I'm gonna go ahead and remove her until she comes back in. So it's just kind of funny that what we dealing with, what we deal with, man. Um, to be honest, it seems like it's the word of it's basically been propagated. Put it like that
I got you. I see what you're saying.
to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
and because hold on, she's back. Um,
Don't do right.
you back.
I'm back.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So before you left out, where were we?
We were just talking about that, and it was almost say that, what we're trying to do now is teach our kids that it's okay to have a conversation
Yes.
without being judged about it or scared to come to you, because how can you tell them, you have free, you need to use your mind, think for yourself, but in the same breath, like he said, just not with me.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Then the messaging is wrong to me. So therefore, you have girls out here, even boys, who are, sneaking around and you have sex or do all that kind of stuff,
Okay.
and end up having a baby out of the situation because they were too scared to come talk to you because, well, you can have other conversations, but just don't apply to me.
I got you.
Right.
Be scared of me, fear me,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you something, guys. Jamal, I know you want to chime in,
Mm-hmm.
but let me ask y'all something. What about kids that are born into a family just naturally through DNA to have a high level of intelligence from birth?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
These kids are gonna be naturally inquisitive. They're gonna be naturally
Absolutely.
open. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
Mm-hmm.
so not even looking at that, we can kind of crush that
I was just about to say
Yeah.
without
you'll wind up.
considering it.
That was I was just about to say you'll wind up killing that part of them if you're
Right.
not careful.
Mm.
And that benefits no one.
No.
And then that child and what's gonna probably wind up happening too on top of that. Now you're gonna create some emotional distress and some emotional issues because because now there's gonna be a lot of resentment. There's gonna be a lot of
Wow.
because now you're telling me to not be who I am.
Wow. Okay.
especially if I'm that naturally inquisitive kid. You know,
Right.
if I'm that I'm asking questions not because I'm trying to be disrespectful. I just like knowledge.
Right.
Every
Right.
question not a question of disrespect. It was not a question of challenging you, and
No.
the child just may want to understand.
Yeah.
And if that
But
and,
you know-
and if that's the place that child is in, and you
Right.
shut them down and tell them shut up, or however that conversation goes and plays out, you taught that child at that point that your creativity, what your thought process means nothing to me.
Nothing.
Wow.
Right.
So
Wow.
therefore you've also taught me to keep my mouth closed, don't talk to you, don't say nothing to you. And so now that I'm holding all that stuff in, now who knows what's gonna come from that?
I got you, Jay. That
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of sense, Jamal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that, Charisma?
It brings back to when me and you first started to talk.
Okay.
And I can remember not being so comfortable with all the conversations because it was almost like I was living what he was saying. I had all these questions as a younger girl, but because of what I came up in, you get shut down for asking questions or wanting to know things
Right.
that would be natural to somebody else to explain to you, but because of the family that I came up in, it was always children stay in children's place, and
Right.
you don't ask that to no grown person. Well, how do I learn these things? It's like my growth was kind of stuck.
Stunning.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I started to talk, was able to talk to him more, and it was almost like it was bringing out me,
Wow.
the person I am now.
Okay.
But look how long, I always say, look how long it took me to get there.
You know what, man? Cause man, it been, we've been in communication now, Jamal, for at least maybe 12, 13 years, maybe.
Okay.
If not more. But not much more so. But I just remember, growing up, and I was a very intelligent kid, and I was very intelligent, and I remember when I was in the house, and my mom, we were sitting in the house, and the Jehovah's Witnesses came to the door. They knocked on the door, and it was protocol to be quiet in the house when they knocked on the door.
Oh, wow.
But I started yelling, when they went after they knocked on the door. Yeah, I got my butt tore up good after that.
Right.
But I think another reason I got my butt whooped because I asked Mom, I said, well, why we got to be quiet at our house? Why can't you just go tell them to leave?
Right.
And we can continue doing because I've always had a mind of wanting to be free.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Right. So, there's some probably some things that in life I probably missed because of what you were talking about, Jamal.
Oh yeah.
But,
It's
but here at the same time, I'm giving that to my son.
Yes.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm giving it to my son, So I'm just kind of self-disclosing now because some of the stuff she just said, Charisma was just saying that, we were talking, but I'm also letting her know some things that you said that brought some stuff up in me too.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So, we all from different sects of life, but you see how it all gels together.
And I want to say that because with you McKinney, my daughter.
Right.
And sometimes I think she's a little bit much, but when I really get to talk to her and stuff, it's so freeing to me because I do sometimes tell her, well, you got to learn how to play the game at some point also, but she is into not being boxed.
Okay.
She's into wanting to have her voice.
Okay.
And regardless, sometimes me and her daddy be like, girl, but we know that in order for her to make it in this world, we want her to know and when to be humble, but we also want her to have a freeing mindset. And I'm just speaking on my daughter because she's probably one of my most challenging children.
Okay.
But I just look at her and I go, wow, you know, that's how I felt I wanted to be, but I was and to me so strained because of what I had been taught and how I had been handled as a child,
Right.
not being able to truly voice my opinion because it was looked at as being disrespectful
So,
instead of having your own mind.
so I got a question from that. Jamal, so from what Charisma just said, how does a parent that has been silenced
Mm-hmm.
help her child navigate that's not in silence?
How do you help them?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where does that I'm just saying, where does that desire, where do you think that desire comes from for her to make sure that her child is not silenced like she was?
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Oh, because you know what that was, and you know the
Okay.
detriment that it caused you.
Right.
You know some of the things that you did experience,
Right.
and again, certain situations bring certain things to certain people. Now, what it did for me, it may not necessarily do to them. However, I'm going to do my absolute best to ensure that they have an environment, or that they have an opportunity to kind of be a part of an environment that encourages
Okay.
their creativity. I want them to be able to be encouraged to have that voice and to speak.
Right.
And I think it all begins day one.
Okay.
It, you can't kind of be hands off, and then like say you hit a certain age. Okay, now we're gonna clamp in. Now we're gonna lock in.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it starts day one
Yeah.
Okay.
with your children. Even
Okay.
how you speak to them and how you interact with them. Like you said, when do I know? When do I know when it's okay? Okay,
Right.
that comes as a little conversation that you sit down and you have.
Right.
He say, when you see mom and dad in this kind of situation, I need you to wait. I need you to wait before you come start talking. When you wait,
Daddy.
when mom and dad had company, I need you to wait till mom and daddy get done. Then we can have a conversation and we can talk. Now,
Right.
if it's something really bad or something really really important, I need you to kind of give mama the signal, give daddy that signal, so mom and
Right.
daddy can come see what it is that you need.
Okay.
Anyway, that's just an example of that. But it's like, because I think for like you said, too often I think we do what was done to us if we're not careful.
Wow.
Unless what happened to you was so traumatic or so moving that it causes you to go the other way to make sure that it doesn't happen.
Okay.
And so you have to make sure that you have to begin that stuff from day one. Though I have to make sure that my child has that opportunity, and that's one thing I know with my daughter Kristen. We always try to encourage her to open up and to speak, to open up to talk. Because I did notice she was a little more intimidated. I felt she was more introverted early on in life. I felt like she was kind of a little bit more quiet. I said one thing I didn't want her to do was just feel like she was not able to have not able to speak, not able to share.
Okay.
And now it's to the point that she doesn't seem like she has anyone that she can't talk to. Now she can speak to anyone. Whether it's me, her mother, grandparents, college professors, all these folks.
Right.
She can engage on any level, and that's what I liked about. Cause I know that's how I was as a person.
That's
I can
awesome.
speak from anyone, from what you quote unquote call the low up to what you quote unquote call the high, whatever.
Right.
And everything in between. And so being able to have that, being able to have those types of conversations, I think and do that is important. But again, you have to start early and make sure that they never get caught in that cycle of having to suppress and try or not not be able to be expressive. Because if it starts, it's sometimes it can be difficult and challenging to break.
You're right, man. I just take my hat out to you, man, for first of all, for helping your daughter find her voice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And let her know that it's okay, man. And I'm glad you got a little courage to say that, and because other parents need to know that, because when I grew up, man, I had to learn a lot of things from just viewing other people, man.
Yeah,
Listening to other people, because a lot of things I just didn't understand, But I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this segment up, Jamal.
Okay.
And look, man, it's been my pleasure having you on the show today, man.
Man, it was a pleasure being here, man. I enjoyed the dialogue, man. I just love, I love what you got going, man. I mean, I definitely support it full heartedly, man, and definitely will be kind of put it out there to some people so that they can like and subscribe and get on board with the content.
Right.
Definitely enjoyed Miss Charisma. Definitely had a great perspective. I've seen a couple of the broadcasts, so it was cool that she even joined in. I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
her to, but it was cool that she was able to get in. 'Cause I've enjoyed hearing her on some of the other conversations that you had, man. But
Right.
definitely, man, Jeff, I've enjoyed this, man. I would love to be able to come back if I can be invited back another day, man, and to be a part of it, man.
You
Love it,
definitely
man.
coming back. Charisma has sent a message out. I want to put it up for you to see it before we go.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome, man.
Right.
Yeah. I enjoyed her as well, man. Definitely.
Right. So listen, man. I just I want to let you know, man. Again, I have
We see
enjoyed
it
having
in
you.
this
I have
world.
enjoyed having Miss Charisma on today. It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys and to get the information out, you know, as we see it. Today's segment was Consider the Source. Another comment I want to make, go ahead and like and subscribe when you get it. If you like the video, like and subscribe. If you don't, that's fine too. We're still coming. Jamal, is there anything else you want to say before we go?
Man, nothing much, man. Just want to say I appreciate you, man. Love you, man. And we look forward to the next time.
Good having you, Jay.
See it.
On As We See It. We out.
Yes, sir. Yeah.